96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Stop acting petty, stop bullying me. Stop acting petty, stop bullying me. Stop acting petty, stop bullying me. Stop acting petty, oh Lord, why you act so petty? All the way, opposite, stupid. This one for all the hard-working people around the world. Rather Bahamas. This one for us. Let's go. Wasn't for the bills, I'd already quit all long time. The things we go through, hard boy putting up a day. We take it and smile, sometimes we even laugh. But down deep inside we want to tell them, kiss my, oh Lord. Wasn't for the mortgage, I would move back with my folks. I used to be a healthy man, now all they do is drink and smoke. Wasn't for police, I'll knock him out and let them see stars. Wasn't for the chichi man, I'll take my chance behind bars. Stupid visor, oh, I got a stupid visor.
Good yawning this morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. What it means is that everybody needs that personal motivation to get them going through the day and every day. That was Stupid Visor. I can't remember who Stupid Visor is by. I always used to think it was KB, but I don't think... Is KB? No, it ain't KB. Is it Cupid? It's Cupid. There you go. What a song, an important song. And if you're an employer, especially if you're a supervisor, you need to take a listen to that song. That's just the people telling you how they feel. And it's important that we listen to each other's voices. Welcome to another edition of On the Clock with Erin Greene on this Thursday, the 27th of October, 2022. This is also a Thursday. That means it's Culture Thursday. So we're going to have some music. We're going to have, I think, a really timely, when I was young, I hear people say that, and a timely conversation. I'm like, but y'all already 5 minutes late, miss, start the conversation. But I think this one is right on time. We have a poll question today. The poll question is provided by my guests. They are representatives from the Bahamas Society for Human Resource Management. And they're going to introduce themselves in a moment. The question is, how satisfied are you with your current job? On a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being, I'd rather throw my car in reverse and stay home today. And 5, if they let me, I could set up a small bedroom in the break room because I really love it here. On a scale of 1 to 5, how satisfied are you with your current job? The numbers to call to join the conversation are 323-6232. That's 323-6232. 325-4316. That's 325-4316. And 325-4259. 325-4259. The Guardian Radio text line is powered by BTC. That's 422-GR96 or 422-4796. Remember, standard text rates apply. Remember, to the audience, question today, how satisfied are you with your current job on a scale of 1 to 5? 1 being, I wish my car had reverse mode so I could drive back home as quickly as possible. And 5 being, I love it here. I can spend weekends if I can. Yesterday, we had a, ended up calling Man Down Wednesday, a mashup of On the Clock and Guardian Radio AM. We intended to engage in some provocative and lively conversations, and I think we did just that. I am aware that I may have upset a number of people, I think more confused than upset. We all get upset when we're confused. And I just want to clarify a couple of things that I said because it's become obvious to me that people have either misunderstood my commentary or intended to misconstrue what it was I was saying. When a caller yesterday asked, so what is the solution to the migrant crisis? I said, well, we can employ what I call the Long Island or the Family Island solution. And that is, in Long Island, Long Islanders do all the work. They have all the jobs. And when they can't handle all the work, they call other Bahamians to do the work for them. But the reason that Long Island doesn't have a migrant problem is because Long Islanders have committed to doing all of the work that needs to be done in Long Island. And yes, some of the development may be slower than the rest of the island, but Long Islanders have a firm collective understanding that they are building their communities. They are creating what it is that they want in their communities, and they are responsible for what grows in their communities. So the solution is that Bahamians can only make the migrant obsolete by doing all of the work, having all of the jobs. See, the implication of that statement when I say it today and when I said it yesterday isn't that other Bahamians are lazy. See, that can't be true, because the majority of Bahamians are working. They work in 1 and 2 jobs and 3 jobs. It's that not enough of us are working. But you see, even when we fill all the jobs, when every single job is filled by a Bahamian, we'll realize that there is more work to be done, that there are new jobs to create or define, new skills to learn and teach, and new industries to explore. So saying that Bahamians to own their country need to do all the work is not saying that Bahamians are lazy. I will say, though, that we have some generational gaps where young people, through no fault of their own, have no idea what it took to build this country. They don't know what the work looked like to build this country, to take it to this place where we could sit and say, oh, the Haitians taking all the jobs and they're taking all my livelihood. I can't be a boss because they have all the jobs. We need to understand across generations what work looked like. And in the same vein, we need to understand what work could look like if we allow younger generations of Bahamians to be truly participatory in the workspace. So I didn't want to shut the conversation down because some people out there, anyway, maybe you've seen the 2-part video that was produced and released yesterday. Maybe you didn't, but some people out there are very upset. They're very passionate. And I just want to say to them, I wouldn't dampen your passion ever, but perhaps your passion is directed in the wrong space, towards the wrong person. See, because who is supposed to help Bahamian workers organize their labor? A young man suggested that these boys out here selling coconuts. I didn't get a chance to him to say, but they still have to prove that, because it appears as if the majority of vendors are stealing coconuts through the complaints of the tree owners. And is that really work? The young man said, they're out here selling drugs, killing themselves off to survive. I'm not going to make a moral judgment. But what I can say is this. What you're talking about is scrap work. That's hustling, right? And so who is supposed to help Bahamian workers organize their labor to give it more value? Why aren't these people working on behalf of Bahamians to ensure they are protected and their labor is not devalued with poor pay and unsafe and illegal working conditions? Who is supposed to help Bahamians realize the true potential of their labor? And who is supposed to help them organize and create systems and mechanisms to turn individual labor into industry? You see, when the government said we're going to give the coconut boys them a chance, I thought it was going to be an expansive program where the government designated a vendor, a government authorized licensed vendor to collect and make coconuts available to the coconut boys. So you know, if they got the little placard up on their booth, that they are authorized coconut vendors. See, we miles behind. You go to the beach in in many parts of the Caribbean, they cutting the whole coconut jelly ball out of the coconut in front of you. They have shaved coconuts with their establishment name branded on it. Those are glimpses at what industry looks like. What y'all talking about is scrap work. And I'm not mad at you. What I am saying, though, is don't be limited by your own imagination. When people reach out with ideas, do not be afraid to listen. Because in many instances, the thing that you are afraid of is the catalyst to turn your hustle into an industry. Good morning. Dear texter, it is so great to hear from you so early in the morning. Your text, you didn't give him a chance to ask a question. In fact, the caller had about 4 minutes on the air. I'm not a cow, so I have no bull. You always think someone didn't understand you. You don't listen. You were offensive and arrogant yesterday. Dear texter, that was a really lively and provocative show. But here's what I don't tolerate on my show. I don't tolerate people calling my show and attempting to be rude to me without actually engaging me directly. I don't tolerate people trying to speak over me on my own show. And I don't tolerate people being rude to me on my own show. I'm not going to critique the caller. I'm just going to say that he had a lot of time to talk yesterday. And since he was talking directly to me, I felt it only fair that he give me a chance to speak directly to him. See, don't forget, he, like you all text me on my job. But I would never want to say anything or do anything to discourage you from calling and texting again. Don't never think you can't call or text my show, even if you're still struggling with what it is you're trying to say to me. I don't have a problem with that. This is my job. This is what we do. And that's what we're going to talk about today, being on your job and the people that can facilitate, right, smooth transition, people who can help you maximize your potential on your job. So joining me this morning, in fact, producer, let's take that call quickly because we may have an answer to our question. Good morning, caller. You're on the clock.
Probably they just talking away so long with you on your guest, Erin, pretty ice cream.
Good morning, Bremen. How you do?
I'm holding. Now, we need justice and law and order in this country.
Yes, sir.
Talking about maximizing your potential.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you a vibe, right?
But
government
yeah.
be holding people down. Let me show you how. The thing is, if you were to get okay, take for instance, some people squatting on your lands.
Okay, Bremen.
Listen.
Quick. You got 30 seconds.
Okay. And you get a lawyer to get them off,
Mm-hmm.
right? The lawyer leaves you in limbo by going to House of Assembly. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Bremen. Bremen, I thought you was going to tell me how satisfied you are on your job. Because the people are going to say, since we're talking about a work-related show, your job must be calling the radio and telling Erin Greene she had pretty eyes. Right? Because my guess, when you said that, Bremen, they look at me like, well, she does have pretty eyes. That's what they say. But a lot of people suggest, Bremen, that it's inappropriate for you to be calling me on my job every day and telling me I have pretty eyes. And I only raise it because that's what we're going to be talking about today, some of those things. My guests joining me today are Ms. Izora Cumberbatch and Ms. Rhonda Chase from the Bahamas Society for Human Resource Management. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Good morning.
Absolutely. Now, you have to speak directly into the mic. No, that's yours, and that's yours.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Thank
Directly
you,
into the
Erin,
mic.
for having us.
No, thank you for joining me. This is a show I didn't know I wanted to have when you all called. So, You're here representing the Bahamas Society for Human Resource Management today. What is BSHRM and what do you do?
So, BSHRM is a national nonprofit
No, you have to speak
organization.
directly into the mic. Yeah,
Okay. BSHRM is a national nonprofit organization. We are the local affiliate chapter for the Society for Human Resource Management. That's the global organization for all things HR. So anything to do with work conditions, how you treat employees, employee engagement, that's us
Awesome.
locally.
Awesome. All right. You're a national nonprofit organization. Now, you are also for human resources and other business professionals. So I like that. So you don't have to be a human resource trained professional or specific. You could sort of have a different label and still be a part of this association.
Definitely.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
So we have different tiers. We have the professional membership, which of course would be more geared towards individuals that are working in HR. And then we have for associate members that are business professionals and may want to get some experience in HR, understand it a little bit better. We
Yeah.
have that level as well. And we also do have students. Yeah.
Yes, for mentorship. Students who are studying human resources management
Okay.
can actually become student members for mentorship, and we become mentees of
Yeah.
our members.
No, so I love it. I thought it may have been, membership was only for human
no,
resource
no,
trained
no.
professionals. But if I was working in a company and I was thinking, you know what, I like this company, I'd love to move into a managerial position, I would love to have an opportunity to be a part of this organization or take advantage of any courses that you offer. Do you offer courses or facilitate, connecting professionals and students with international programming?
Well, yes, definitely. We offer our certification course. The Society for Human Resources Management has 2 levels of certification, and we also the Human Resources Certification Institute have 3 levels of certification.
Yes.
So we facilitate the courses for those, and in addition to that, our monthly meetings, we offer topics ranging from any trending topics in HR. Our speakers come and you can attend our meetings and become informed on different trends. We also have our social media group, whereas we discuss different topics. So
Okay.
Yeah.
yes, it's
Just
all
like work
around.
conditions.
No, man, I love this. I'm a proponent of, I lobby for professional associations, right? Every industry, every, I'd say, career space should have a professional association and journals, right? They should write, they should engage publicly and document the discourse and write and document that for professionals, for members, wider public, and particular people interested in those spaces.
So, Erin, it's interesting that you mentioned that because we are actually looking to do something like that in the near future. One of the things I think our country needs is a national pay survey.
Yes.
And that's something that our chapter on the ground is looking to establish. We want to partner with one of the local organizations here to get that off of the ground. Because the reality is, at the end of the day, how much do you enjoy your job? How engaged are you on your job? But at the same time, what does the pay look like across the different
Compensation
industries?
package.
Yes, the total rewards package.
Yes.
Wow. All right, I just got a quick text here. A response to our question, how satisfied are you with your job on a scale of 1 to 5? The texter says, I'd say a 2 because I live with and work under my boss, so it kind of sucks. My boss is my father.
Oh, wow.
Right, but this is a job do you have job security because your boss is your father, and does that balance out, right? Like when we talk about the pace,
Yeah.
does the total compensation package, though, make it a bit better than a 2, texter?
You may have a little bit more say in it because you can influence your father at home and at work in terms of making changes. So it's just how you look at it and how you see the business. Eventually, you may inherit the business. I don't know if your father is the boss or you own the business, but it may be a little bit more than a 2. And just how you look at it, it may seem that it's like repressive, but no, you needed a more positive approach. see
Right.
how you can make some changes and influence the direction of the business in a positive way.
Yeah, man, because the first thing I'm thinking is if I tied my dad standing over me, micromanaging me, I think I can be the manager for the day, and somehow daddy just loses keys, can't get to work. Oh, I left before you, father, because I have to open up the shop early. I really appreciate waiting for you. I want to do a good job.
And
And leave him home all day.
Yeah, and Aaron, too, with that is two different generations as well.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's different mindsets, different perceptions as well.
Right. When we look at the total compensation package, what an older Bahamian, say someone in their 60s or 70s, would have accepted as a younger employee, that 20, 25-year-old employee today, that seems wild and crazy that you would consider that a compensation package.
Yeah, because I mean, if I look at persons that I know in the baby boomer generation, they would always say, oh, because I'm a millennial, y'all like to move about too much. You should be thankful to have a job and you could be stable and you don't have to worry. But y'all young people, y'all want to move here, there, and everywhere. But it's not really that. I think it's almost like trying to find that unicorn, looking for that flexibility or what works for you as an individual and still get the job done at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And our younger generation, speaking to flexibility, they are looking to have work-life balance. Whereas the generations before the millennials, they love the long work. They want to be there longer.
That's because they didn't have AC in the house.
Yeah.
Listen, I think it's a very real thing.
It's true.
AC in the office, no AC in the house. Children there, and they expect
Let me
you.
come to work and suck up the AC.
Right.
You understand?
The children home, and they don't have no tablet to consume them. I have to actually entertain these children. Not if I have extra work to do, though.
You understand? And vacation time is,
Yes.
The older generation, they would rather work through the summers because of
Right.
the AC. But the younger generation, they want to take that trip, and if they have to work while they're taking the trip, they're fine. Remote work is the thing.
Absolutely.
Workplace.
The guests don't know, but I was hoping that we had an opportunity to play the How Bahamian Are You game show Workers Edition. You can't call it Office Edition because that's only a small sphere of the workspace, right?
Exactly.
And so I couldn't call it Office Edition. But I have a question I want to throw out there right now to Bahamians as well as you guys. That's a big generational gap. The older generations of Bahamians would work through vacation pay. In fact, I think when, I don't know, I can't talk my mother's business, but I know a lot of older Bahamians and the amount of vacation time that they had. And if we look at if we could just look at the public service, a number of cases have been in the public sphere because people are saying, listen, don't direct me to take my vacation time. I want to work out my entire career. And then you realize, but you have 5 years of vacation saved up, sir or ma'am. We have
They
to,
actually really be paid out for that?
well, I mean,
when you look at it,
I mean,
no.
technically, don't dampen their hopes, right? You can't dampen their hopes. But that's a lot of time. And then you ask yourself, well, what did you lose by not taking that vacation time, right? And then we know younger generations of Bahamians, they're like, no, sir. Give me my vacation time, please.
Yes, I want to travel.
Thank you.
want to see
I
new
mean,
things, experience.
and honestly, Erin, and you need to take a break. Your body tells you when it's time to shut down. That's the purpose of having a vacation. When you come back to work, even if it's after a couple days, you feel refreshed, rejuvenated.
Yeah.
Why just consume yourself and working? You're not being the best version of yourself.
Yeah, because I have children, and they're lovely, but they're in the house, so
Yeah.
I can stay at work. I got 2 texts here. First one says, "I tired of my wife being the boss on this job." Dear sir, I mean, did you read the contract when you signed it? But I bet the compensation package is wonderful, sir. Don't mind that. Another text, without it being what phrases can people use in a work environment to compliment a coworker of the opposite sex on their attire or personal styling without it being considered inappropriate or harassment?
Wow. That's a good one because it's a fine line with that. You know, you may want to say you're looking very professional today, and without saying pretty because that's gender specific.
Yeah.
You know, you have to watch the language because it's a very fine line.
My grandmother would approve of that outfit today, ma'am.
Yeah.
That wigs.
Yes. Yes.
And it's cold, right?
Too,
It is.
But then too, depending on the person, are you saying I look old?
Yes, ma'am. You look old.
It's a very fine line with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Say.
people get so offended.
You know,
Yeah.
you have to watch what you say because the intention you want to convey it properly. So I leave it to very professional terms.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're very professional today. If you're a lawyer, you're really representing the profession today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Make
a good term,
keep it to very general. And so if you don't no gender, no ageisms and things like that,
Yeah.
you could offend a person.
Yeah.
And so you really want the intent, especially if it's coming from a good place.
And we know in our culture too, Erin, people look for keywords to pick out what you're trying to say. You're trying to say, and the way that you say it as well. Oh, you look good today.
Yes.
All those things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and even but culturally, you know, we have accepted some terms, but in the workplace is moving into a different sphere, and we have different nationalities in the workplace who may not understand that Bahamians are, you know, casual, and we may say, "Hey, sweet girl," but that may not go over well with somebody else from a different nationality. So we have to remain professional at all times.
Yes.
You know, we have to remember that.
Absolutely. And we also have to remember that it's not your intention, it's the effect.
Yes.
Right? It's not your intention with the words that we prioritize, it's the effect of your words. And so it requires you to practice spatial awareness and critical thinking and empathy in the workplace to ensure that you don't create a less comfortable space for your colleagues. Absolutely. Producer, maybe it's time to go to a break because we need to talk about two events coming up. Human Resources Week,
Yes.
and the 2022 BSHRM
Conference time.
Annual Conference and Expo. Absolutely. Producer, well, you don't play it. I can't tell you, because he on his job. And I
Right.
can't tell him what to do. There you go. I like this one too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So this is KB.
Cause little bit of rain did come down last night. So I dial a certain number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The phone just keep on ringing, man, them people full of jive. Now I'm one of them people who like to complain. But when I went down to the office, they try and make me shame.
Fidelity's free Women Plus seminar is back. Join us on Saturday, October 29th at the Bahama Convention Center, where leading professionals will give you the hard facts on topics like
How to be rich 101, how your mental and emotional health impact financial health, and what I wish women knew about men.
and how to get their money. This free, life-changing event is for women and men. The seminar includes breakfast, 8 sessions, plus over $8,000 in prizes and surprises. Registration and breakfast begins at 8 a.m., with sessions from 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Space is limited, so register now for free at fbbwomenplus.com.
No matter who I marry, no matter where my wife gives birth, our children will be Bahamian, like me.
If I marry a man who's not Bahamian, I have to give birth in the Bahamas, or my children won't even be Bahamian like I am.
That don't even make sense.
That's why we had the referendum in 2016.
But the people vote no.
The government can still do something about it with ordinary legislation. And it needs to develop an action plan and timeline to hold another referendum to deal with gender inequality in the Constitution.
How we can make that happen?
Go to tiny.cc/nationality to support the campaign for equal nationality rights by Equality Bahamas.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Mr. Driver, bring that big bus here.
Good morning. Welcome back to On the Clock with Erin, Greene. On this Thursday, the 27th of October, joining me in studio are representatives from the Bahamas Society for Human Resource Management. I was just telling my guests that as we went into the break, I couldn't remember, I know the song, but I couldn't remember exactly which song it was. Turns out it was Civil Servant by KB. I love it though. It's, I don't want to say explicit, it hits. It's truthful, it's telling the truth. KB is not lying. Now, we know he's not talking about all of us.
No, definitely.
But he
not.
definitely talking about some of us. Yes. And then coming back in from the break, we had T-Rez, Hepburn, Therese, Mr. Bus Driver. And I just want to say that when I was creating this list, I thought Mr. Bus Driver was about a bus driver. It's not about a bus driver. But that's also what we do in the Bahamas. Tourism, culture. That's our job. Okay, so we've got some more text here. It says, you are 100% correct. My father works 7 days a week and doesn't take vacation. So this is the text that it said he works under his father, right? If he's not working, I could tell he feels off. And so this speaks to a generational thing.
Yes.
Where your job was a part of your identity. It is not just who you are, but it's the role that you play in society, right?
And I think too with that, Erin, it's also where they're so conditioned to just getting up and working and working. Look at those persons who would have retired. When they retire, what do?
Stay home. Well, you have two sets of people. Some people, they on another project.
Thank
get
you.
Another job.
That's the reality. It's just like, okay, but you're retired. You should be relaxing. No, they're looking for another project. What else could they do to keep busy? Mm-hmm. So I just feel like it's a shift in the mindsets where the older generation is more focused on keeping busy, being productive, always having something to do. Like my grandmother, you couldn't stay asleep in her house after a certain time.
Yeah, up.
Yeah.
And that's the experience of many Bahamians. I would say either you got Family Island people,
yes,
or you are in you 40 and above, right? That my grandmother the same way. Whenever
you
we
have
spend,
to be up doing something.
Get up, and if you don't have nothing to do, well, say your prayers. That's plenty to do.
Yeah.
And I think another generational difference is that older generations, unless they came from business-minded culture and community and family, I have a job and that's my job.
Yeah.
And then when they retire, they pick up something new. For younger generations of Bahamians, they're like, oh no, I got a job, and then I got these other jobs.
Yeah, my side hustle.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a cultural thing. Now, it's not just, well, it's sort of been dictated by economies, right? But it's a cultural thing now. And for many young people, one stream of income is not sufficient.
Yeah.
Right? And they're always working on something new. Another text, Ms. Greene, what about the culture of praying before meetings in the workplace? We people from different cultures and beliefs, so why do we insist on praying before every meeting? You know, I hadn't even thought about that. I get a lot of pushback in the advocacy community for insisting that if we're going to have a prayer, that we hold space for an interfaith prayer, right? Or we just have a moment of silence. And though this is a big issue, because a lot of workers will never say anything. They will never say anything out loud, but trust me, they feel marginalized and excluded in workplaces that insist on having a prayer. It's so important, but will only have a Christian prayer without regard for whether there are people of other faiths in the workplace.
But the thing with that too, Erin, is that you have to make sure, especially in diverse cultures like that you create inclusive environments. And sometimes being in inclusive environments, like with my employer, we have persons from different, all over the world. And we embrace that. We actually even have a space where if you want to go and pray throughout the day, I think it's maybe the Islamic faith where maybe they pray a certain amount of
5 times a day. Yes.
You have a room where that's dedicated for
yeah.
you to put your prayer shawl down and pray.
Yeah.
But how many organizations locally can we see?
Right, and understanding it,
Yes.
because it's not just
And respecting
right.
it.
It's not just you could just go under your desk. They have to face the east. right?
Right.
There's a particular protocol for the prayer. And it's important that the workplace acknowledges these things. It's the same, well, another thing with breastfeeding, right? It was just International Breastfeeding Week and then
Yes.
National Breastfeeding Week a few months earlier. Do employers understand the importance of creating a space for mothers, breastfeeding mothers? Even a space for a mother to pump, even if she's not breastfeeding on the job. But even so, I've seen in Caribbean countries where the father will bring the child, the family will bring the child to work. And typically the mother will go in the car because there's no space available at work. Feed the baby, and then they go back.
I've known people locally that actually had to do that
Yeah.
because there was no space for them to really express their milk. But employers, I mean, when you think about the future of the workplace, you really have to think about these things, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's one of the reasons why the flexible work option is becoming more of an attractive benefit if those employees offer that. Because depending on where you are in life, if you are a mother with a young child, you want to be able to spend more time at home. If you can work at home and take care of your child and still meet your financial objectives and your employer's objectives, that's great. But our we have to, it's a mindset change here locally in order to incorporate these things.
The focus needs to shift from
Yes.
presenteeism.
Yes, because a lot of the minds we speak about in our meetings. If I don't see you, you can't be working.
Exactly.
If you're not here at that desk, you can't be working.
Oh, yes, but see, that makes sense. Grammy knew what she was saying.
Yes.
She knew when she couldn't see me. She'd like stay on the side porch. She knew when she couldn't see me, I wasn't working.
And it is something, and a lot of the jobs that we have, it could be flexible to work time. You can probably meet your deadlines, meet your deliverables right from home, and still be able to breastfeed your child in the privacy of your home and be comfortable.
Absolutely. Let's take this call and then let's give the dates and the themes for Human Resources Week and the annual conference. Good morning, caller. You're on the clock.
Morning. Am I speaking to the lady with the pretty eyes?
Yes, sir. That would be me.
Anyway, just okay.
I understand. We good. We good.
Okay. Anyway, I just want to make an observation.
Mm-hmm.
There are some times when folks who preach inclusivity,
Mm-hmm.
they seem to have a problem exercising the tolerance that inclusivity requires.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
It starts to become like preferential after a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm enjoying your show.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much, caller. Okay, ladies, we're almost out of time.
Right.
So, Human Resources Week and the Bahamas Society for Human Resource Management annual conference and expo. Does the conference and expo sit in Human Resources Week? Or is it going to be a separate from the week of activities?
It sits in that week.
That's awesome. So what are the dates for Human Resources Week this year?
So it starts next week. Well, actually, from Sunday, we'll be worshiping at Christ Church Cathedral just to kind of recognize and be grateful for all of the opportunities and advancement that we've made in HR locally in the Bahamas. Then we do have the conference, which is that Thursday and Friday at Atlantis.
All right, and that is the 3rd and 4th of November, right?
Yes, yes.
Awesome.
And so that's under the theme Inspire, Lead, Transform. All of the things that we've talked about today, shifting the mindsets, bridging the gap. These are things that we're going to cover at the conference. We have 2 keynote speakers, Minister Pia Glover, who's going to talk about the role of human resources in national development.
Awesome.
I think that's a great topic.
Absolutely.
And, the way we structured it this year is that we have specific tracks. So if you're interested in HR technology, if you're interested in career development, we have specific speakers that you can, you could say, okay, this is my track. I'll definitely target those sessions, and and also attend the main session. So it all depends on what your focus is at this point in time. Or you can make it a variety. You can pick through one or the other and mix it up. We try to make everything to address what is the current trends right now in HR and facing the workplace.
Absolutely.
And I was just going to piggyback off what Rhonda said. It is not just this conference for HR professionals, managers, supervisors. You can benefit from this as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, because definitely managers, HR is people. We're managing people. And anyone who manages people should have an understanding of the human resources discipline, and in particular, our labor laws. How do you apply disciplinary action correctly?
Yes.
How do you motivate your employees through performance management? How do you, create environments for innovation? You have to know how to do that as managers in this modern society. Sitting there and just dictating is no longer the accepted practice if you want to be a successful manager or build a career as a leader. You have to, be aware of what is trending today, where the workplace is headed, and, our conference speaks to all of those topics.
Sort of within this professional space and culture, is there a sense of care of duty for employees in the workplace, right? Do you sort of inculcate that human resource managers have a care of duty to assist or facilitate employees in the workspace in terms of development, more professional, because personal has to follow professional.
Because as a manager, for you to be successful, you're not just giving a workout. A part of your responsibility is to help that employee develop.
Yeah.
Yeah, find out with that employee have that conversation. When you hire that employee, yes, we hired you to do a job, but how can we help you develop in your career? And see, that's how you build the gap of building loyalty within your employment relationship. Because if you help that employee develop and give them challenges and things to help them move ahead, you'll get the most productivity of that individual.
Yes, because they feel as though you're invested in them, and it's a
two-way.
It's a two-way, and not just a one-way.
Absolutely. I got some text, and you got to give the details for the conference. So let's get to the details. Where do I go to find the sign-up information for the conference?
So it is on our website, which is www.shrmbahamas.org. Or if you want to give us a call, you can also reach us via mobile at 827-9503. I'll repeat that again. That's 827-9503.
Absolutely.
And we have additional, also our Facebook sites. We are on all the
all the social media sites.
Yes. Instagram, Facebook.
That's awesome. That's great. I'm signing up. I'm trying to train raccoons to harvest fruit as opposed to taking one bite and dropping it to the ground. And if I could make that work, I'm going to be a billionaire. A couple of texts here, Miss Greene. The problem with most of our people is that they cannot retire because of financial obligations. They fail to plan. When you're in the hands of the finance man, you're always begging your employer for another year.
But you know what, Erin? That brings it back to HR again. When these persons come in, are we helping them? I know some companies are, but is it a consistent thing across the board in terms of helping people with financial planning so that you don't have to stay on the man's job an extra year if you don't need to, or I still have my mortgage. Just planning ahead. And I think we talked about this offline. Sometimes we don't like to prepare. And the discipline that is needed to prepare for tomorrow, do we want to do that?
Absolutely.
And sometimes, if your employer isn't having those workshops, because we have pensions and we just did a session with RF, the pension provider usually would like to come in and talk to you and tell you, about the benefits. And if you don't have a pension ask for it ask your employer, have you thought about it? things like
Yeah.
that. You could raise the question as an employee.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And employers don't make employees feel like they breaching some rule or they're being distasteful or offensive by attempting to ask you questions to learn more about the workplace protocols, the workplace culture, and your sense of the future for the company that they're working for. They have an obligation. I mean, you have an obligation to let them know these things so that they can live full adult lives and be able to plan and navigate,
Yes.
Absolutely. So quick question before we end the show. The person says, follow up to the prayer question. They're basically saying, I wasn't talking about making sure that the prayer is accessible to everybody. Essentially, why are we praying at all in these professional spaces? And that's what the text is getting at. And text, I feel you. It's a cultural thing.
It's a
Right.
And the thing about it is, when we have our official events, the first thing we start off with is a prayer.
Yeah.
And from the Constitution straight down, we incorporate that. So I don't know how, as a culture, if it's that entrenched, I don't know.
Oh, it's deeply entrenched.
It's going to be very difficult for you to, unless you, as in your work environment, decide it.
Yeah.
You're not going to do that. But culturally, it's there.
Yeah.
And we'll have to flex with it. You have to make accommodation for the different beliefs, but it's there.
Yeah, and I think the interfaith prayer text is a great step in the right direction,
It is.
right? And so, of all people, I can tell you, you can't have it all your way all the time. I know that. I want it all though. Anyway, as a Bahamian, wake up.
Try.
I want it all. Ms. Cumberbatch and Ms. Chase, I will be petitioning you, calling your boss and telling them give you time off so you could come and join me on the show in the future so we could help the wider community figure out, how employees can turn their skill sets into careers and how employees can become integral members of their companies and how we can turn individual labor into industries, careers and industries.
Love that.
Love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Erin, for having us.
Thank
Always
you.
a pleasure.
Absolutely. I don't mind having you all on my job. Their texter is on my job. That's all text. That's on my job. We got to go. Guardian Radio AM with Cecil Nuri is up next. Thank you, producer. That's The Hands of the Finance Man by Eddie Minnis. You guys have a great day.
Thank you.
He does twist and shout, the Bahamian gals. He does call them fish mouth when the hotel full. He don't slumber, but the finance man has got his number. He is living in the hands of the finance man.
Unequal gender nationality law is a violation of human rights and a failure of the government to meet its obligations. In 2018, the CEDAW Committee told the Bahamas to set a clear time frame for constitutional reform, to integrate the principle of gender equality into all laws, and to amend the Bahamas Nationality Act 1973 for Bahamian women and men to transmit citizenship on an equal basis. Join Equality Bahamas in demanding action now. Visit tiny.cc/nationality for more.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.